Hello, sinful humans. Today I am sharing how Leah Remini lost her lawsuit against Scientology. But first, what did Laffy say? June 10th, 1960.
Don't bother to get elected. Get a job on the secretarial staff or the bodyguard. Use any talent one has to get a place close in. Go to work on the environment and make it function better.
I don't want to play this game anymore. Me neither. Leah Remini, a media personality, began her long career on screen when she was a teen. Did you know? According to her Twitter ex, Remini also calls herself mother, wife, actress, author, producer, advocate. Mother of Sophia. There's very little on the World Wide Web about Sophia. That is a good mother. Wife of Angelo. Sure, they divorced after 21 years of marriage. They were together a total 28 years. That is a good wife. Yes, endurance makes a good wife. Bonus points for living the blended life as Angelo. Already a father of 3, was the one who brought a past into their relationship, while the only luggage Leah schlepped into their many years together was called Scientology. Scientology is a business. Would you like to comment? Oh, wait, no. You do not comment on my videos. Who are you? Leah Remini is an author. In 2010, she wrote Kiss My Cellulite, published by Hyperion, currently out of print. She also wrote a best-selling autobiography called Troublemaker, Surviving Hollywood and Scientology, which was a Ballantine publication released September 2016, the same year her documentary debuted. And Leah Remini's Wikipedia also says she has won a bucket of awards for a reality show in 2015 and for her documentary about surviving Scientology. Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath. Awards in 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020. Remini's documentary success. It was so impactful, in fact, that in the years following the film series, the internet has blown up talking about Scientology. Books against Scientology began multiplying, and then came the uptrend in popular culture about cult documentaries. Hey, Google Eye, list the best cult documentaries. Documentaries about cult religions. Results? Magazine influencers. Jasmine Ting, writing for Cosmopolitan, she found 15 of the best documentaries, cult. She wrote that on May 2nd, 2024. Well, but going back in time, Elena Nicolau of Oprah Daily, she found also 15 best documentaries, cult. Yeah, Elena wrote that article October 19th of 2020, her 15 best for Oprah Daily. And then there's Entertainment Weekly. They wrote an article July 31st, 2024, and by they I mean Declan Gallagher and James Mercadante. They found 20 best documentaries, cult. And finally I found this year, April 25th, Sarah Lee and Liv McConnell, writing for Teen Vogue, found 37 best documentary, cult. Best of all time. Between Cosmo, Entertainment Weekly, Oprah, and Teen Vogue, that is approximately 50 unique titles rated as best in genre. The top 50 documentaries according to popular publications from today, going back to the 1970s. And Remini's film, which captured 12 industry awards, Remini's film did not make the cut of Best Cult Documentaries. Did I mention that Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath, a documentary television series, won awards in 2017 and 18 and 19 and 20? Oprah. Wow, Carol, put that on a sticky. The manager provides career guidance, strategic planning, and personal representation. Speaking of awards year over year, Google Eye this. Awards, documentaries, cult. You would think Remini's film would appear in search results. Wikipedia says Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Documentary or Nonfiction Special. No Leah Remini, but I thought she won an Emmy. Wikipedia had to write a special note saying, oh, there were just a few years, a period of time, when the name was changed. And that page is called Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Hosted Nonfiction Series or Special. And there you will find Leah Remini, Scientology in the Aftermath. Let's see the very distinct difference between these two Wikipedia results. Now tell me, hosted nonfiction series, does that not mean documentary? I must remember to ask Carol about this. Carol, she does PR, arranges media appearances, monitors social media and public images and reputation. You know, she manages the talent. And talent is actors, singers, dancers, all of the above and more, because they act and sing and dance and all of the above and more. Talent pays a manager so that the manager is career guidance, strategic planning, and personal representation of the client brand. Carol, you know this. 6 long years of my life. Anyway, I left Carol voicemail at 5:11 in the afternoon on June 13th, Friday. On Friday the 13th. ¿Saben qué? La fecha de viernes, cuando caiga en el día 13 de cualquier mes, representa para anglohablantes una creencia antigua de que todo el día ese día, viernes el 13 de algo, ese día se llena de cosas misteriosas, casualidades, déjà vu, suerte y más. ¿Acaso ustedes supieron? Mientras hablemos de consultores para los célebres, ¿supieron que el Tommy Boy Cruz, Matt Potter y la Jennifer López andan con el mismo consultor? Y no es porque sí nomás. Kevin Huvain se llama el consultor. Es gigante entre célebres, los más famosos, más conocidos que hayan. De hecho, el mismo Kevin es un célebre entre consultores. Tiene 72 clientes célebres, incluso J-Lo, incluso Tommy Boy. ¿Cierto? ¿Cierto? Así que, como para mantenerse alejada del núcleo de cienciología, Remini debe también tener una relación solo a distancias con la amiga. Ya, ¿alguien puede avisar a los noticieros en línea y en todas partes, por favor? Esas amigas no lo son, pero sí son, que no son tampoco enemigas. Bueno, volvamos al tema. The manager provides career guidance, strategic planning, and personal representation. The manager handles day-to-day business, scheduling, and corresponding with potential business relationships. Carol. The manager works closely with agents to ensure talent is prepared for audition. Some managers cost more because they oversee a staff of agents and publicists and assistants, for example. Is that you, Carol? Am I going to be your hot potato? Do watch that you don't get caught red-handed. I emailed you, Carol. 12:30 in the afternoon on June 12th. I keep good records. Starting in 1988, Remini was helped to build a long professional bio with credits in film, television, and video games. Credits pile up every year, but Remini's work has a distinct drop in momentum, a sustained drop, a puzzling drop. Curious. Unlike the steadily upward trajectory of comparable celebrities. Lo que está pasando con Remini no es como la trayectoria que va fijamente hacia arriba de célebres comparables, actrices neoyorqueñas conocidas por la tele. Fran Drescher empezó en 77. Llegó a su cumbre de la carrera en los 90 con su papel titular de Nanny. Y siguió y sigue desempeñando películas y tele. Alyssa Milano empezó en 84 con Who's the Boss, una comedia de tele que también representó su cumbre de la carrera y duró ese periodo hasta los 92. Y sus créditos de cine andan sin saltos año tras año hasta hoy. ¿Lo ven? Hay un patrón. El no faltar trabajo corresponde con el seguir trabajando. Debe haber una bajada en cada curso y luego una subida. Luego, no después de mucho rato, hasta no se sabe. luego y volver a trabajar hasta como Dios quiera. Oddly, Remini's success dropped off following her era of greatest momentum. First the acclaim for her best-selling autobiography, then her Emmy Award-winning documentary. It was a viewer favorite during its release through all 3 seasons, 2016 through 2019, raking in multiple Emmy Awards between 2017 and 2020. Remini's fame spiked. She became known as that actress who stands up to groups that practice coercive control, especially groups called Scientology. Remini became the image of courage for the scourged. Carol, we live in a victim Olympic society. The Indigo children want to know, where's the strategic planning, Carol? Are you getting paid for a little career guidance to continue building this brand? Courage for the scourged. Is there a goal? What's the goal, Carol? How do you enter a contract without a goal? It appears Entertainment Weekly, Oprah, Cosmo, and Teen Vogue had a goal. Their goal was to not give kudos to Remini, even though her film was recent, popular, trend-setting, and more award-winning than the other 2 Scientology documentaries that did make the cut. Where are we, Carol? Identify projects. Network. Or is that an obstacle? Is there too much Scientology? There's too much Scientology for you to swat away, Carol? Imagine you're swatting all day, every day, while Queen Anti-Cult is in your care, and how would you balance that kind of high-maintenance client with your entire caseload? I mean, 72, Kevy has 72, and his big names are hopping. Okay, they're doing projects right now. How many clients, Carol, do you have to balance? It must be too much. It must be too much to return my call. Or were you told not to return my call, Carol? I mean, why would Carol believe I am unworthy of a return call? She does not know me. I introduced myself with my company name with the brief business message and details to return the call. She has not returned the call. She has not replied by email. On 2 occasions, her voicemail did not even engage, which tells me she screened out my calls. We do not know each other. I present myself in the name of business. She does not call back. So, in my mind, Carol believes she is swatting a Scientologist, someone who merits 0 contact within the vicinity of Carol's top talent, Miss Remini. It is puzzling, however, how she might have arrived at such a conclusion, but that is the only explanation I have for her to avoid me concertedly. Let's play a game. Am I a Scientologist? Carol wants to know. Please leave your comment below. A manager provides career guidance, strategic planning, and personal representation. June 12th, no answer. June 11th, no answer. June 9th, voicemail, no return call. You're so laughy, Carol. Remini, without Carol. And when did you and Remini enter your client-manager relationship? In what year, Carol? Remini, a solas, actively participated as the creator, producer, and co-star of the documentary series Leah Remini Scientology and the Aftermath. She took the initiative. She drove that bus, Carol. And 56 others, including her co-star, were also credited with producing the docuseries. This 3-year series investigates Scientology through the experience of Leah Remini and other former members. In fact, the impetus for creating this award-winning product was the tragic experiences of Leah's friend and the friend's mother, Amy Scobie and Bonnie Elliott. Twitter X fairly represents Remini as an advocate. On the Aftermath documentary, Remini exposed Scientology's abuse, violence, and illegal activities committed by Scientology members directed against their own members and against ex-members. Remini is an advocate for underdogs. During the trial of convicted criminal Danny Masterson, Remini lent her large shoulders to uplifting Masterson's victims. Remini was not implicated in this trial in any way, shape, or form. She was just being an advocate. Her heart also breaks for veterans, children's rights, autism, and all manner of marginalized society. Her Twitter X account says she is intolerant of bullies, bull, and injustice. So true. Me too. Me too. Hello, I am Miss Shoemaker. I make shoes. I also make videos. I also make phone calls, voicemails, emails, text messages, snail mail, social media posts, and I make you uncomfortable. Because I do not work. I am a retired cog in the United States government. I am the man. The man is a colloquial way to refer to the United States government employees. I have served federal, state, county, municipal, and even tribal governments in the United States, and yes, it is like the movies. I am not at liberty to discuss the details of what work I performed. I was not in the system like a foster child, a ward, an adoption, or an inmate. Rather, I was in the system by right of my birth. When you think of the man, you're thinking of my parents. You're thinking of my children. You're thinking of me. Generational government goon. Like my parents, I was a number, not a name, and my life was sacrificed in service to my country. Like many others, in fields private or public, I loved my work. My name is Miss Shoemaker, but you are welcome to address me as 3109, even though I am retired from work for the United States government. We're talking about Leah Remini's lawsuit. I'm not in the field of law, but I do dabble in entertainment as a retirement pastime. In my dabbling, I came across an interesting anomaly in celebrity news. Leah Remini's upward momentum halted after she won an Emmy. Not a gap, a halt. Make a note of that, Carol. Carol is known for producing Girl Interrupted. Remini's career began when she was a teen. She had bit roles alongside major youth actors of the time. Her screen time grew as did her career, which was entirely under the direction, influence, and control of Scientology. DICS. These were her years of DICS. But they were good years. They were normal years for a growing actress, normal for a growing celebrity, normal for Remini's friends. Tiene muchas amigas y son muy buenas amigas. Uno, por ejemplo, Michelle Visage, activa desde 89, explosión en el 2013 y de ahí múltiples proyectos año tras año. Su amiga Halle Robinson Peete trabajó duro cada año desde el 86, tuvo 4 niños y un pequeñito salto en el año 2009, evidentemente una anomalía que ya se corrigió. Y su amiga Tisha Campbell, como empezó de niña en 73, hubieron saltos normales durante su niñez, pero en 86 en adelante, películas, televisión, videos de música, un documentario y muchísimos premios. También su amiga Chelsea Handler, hasta una comediante, tiene un montón de créditos de cine y de la tele. Al ojo, ningún salto. A ver su amiga Yelo. Tiene casi 1000 créditos profesionales y al corriente está desarrollando 13 proyectos hoy en día. Está ocupada. Está más ocupada que Tammy Boy, cuyos créditos apenas pasaron 700 y tiene solo 10 proyectos en marcha. Miren, todos arriba tienen proyectos en marcha. Visage, Robinson P., Campbell, Handler, López, Matt Potter, todos tienen. Falta Remini. We're going to add Istanbul for that. You heard me, Carol. Istanbul. Before she had yet to hit gold, every year of her filmography shows Remini was working. A lot. Every year. There was not a lull in her resume, even when she left Scientology in 2013. She could boast roles in film, television, and even video games, year after year, until her fame skyrocketed in years 2016 to 2019 with the Leah Remini Scientology and the Aftermath documentary television series. Before that, her career highlight was the hottie on a 90s sitcom called King of Queens. Then Aftermath success branded Remini. She became the actress who took on the big bad cult of Scientology. Scientology is a business. Oh, do you have a comment? I'm the man. Communication is one way. All of those years of steady growth, year after year, every year, then, thanks to her own initiative, Carol, she enjoyed a breakout success of her memoir and a hit docuseries. Then, followed only a few small conquests, People Puzzler, Dancing with the Stars, and a little podcasting. Then flat tire. What happened? She stepped into the entertainment industry in 1988. Every year she grew. She rocketed from 16 to 19 and then kaput. Why? Why? And why is her brand being swept under a rug, Oprah? It feels like Scientology. No, not feelings. Math. Do the math. What calculations brought us to this result? Let's do the math. Oh, I know. She stepped away to go get the education that was stolen from her childhood. She did not go to school past 8th grade. She had an entire adulthood before she returned to school. Yet today, she is nearly finished with a bachelor's degree, which, do the math, she's fast. She took the initiative on her education. And that was after her bestseller book and after her Aftermath movie, Carol. So, after the math, that's not it. Education's not why her career is in a downspin. Oh, I know. Her marriage was blowing up, and that interfered with her career. Totes. No. That's not it. Oh, I know. She's stressed out and broke down. With their policies to utterly destroy critics, Scientologists' harassment took its toll on the actress bold enough to expose their abuses. Other celebrities have left Scientology membership, but no others had the courage to seek justice for those abused by Scientologists. Self-righteous, backbiting, liars. Living in fear for her daughter, herself, her loved ones, it can weigh on even the strongest individual's physical and emotional well-being. But did Leah ever break down? Well, yes, but just that once, when her grief over Mike's death caused her to lash out publicly. Really, that was just grief. Grief is weird, not a breakdown. And though she hasn't posted a public follow-up to that lapse in grace, there really are not obvious stressors that are plaguing her throttled career. Oh, wait. Maybe there are obvious stressors. I mentioned Amy Scobie and her mother, Bonnie. They kicked off the inspiration for Leah Remini's documentary success. Riding that wave of exposing Scientology abuses, Amy livened up her YouTube channel, continuing to carry the torch of exposing abuses. I recommend watching Amy's every video. She is captivating. She is genuine and photogenic. However, I caution you to see through my eyes when you watch her video released August 5th, 2023, titled Scientology Beatings, Torture, and Imprisonment. Where's the FBI?
But I'm very afraid it has spiraled way out of control and needs immediate investigation and intervention. Thank you, Amy Scobie. And they contacted me saying, let me help you. And I didn't take them up on their offer of help, but it was just very moving that somebody would actually contact me and say, we're here to help. That's a big plus from the FBI. And I remember her name was Deborah. She kept calling me just to check on me and make sure everything was okay. Anyway.
Burn my eyes. There is no welfare program in the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation. Welfare, medical, housing, jobs. Welfare belongs to the Department of Health and Human Services. What I see in this video is that this woman, contrary to her convicted belief, did not have an interaction with a government representative, not an authentic one. When you have an authentic encounter with anyone who works for any level of any government agency anywhere in the United States of America, you should detect callous and or arrogant. If your encounter was anything other than callous and or arrogant, please consult a lawyer. You should have consulted a lawyer from the get-go. Government employees do not have time for your cat in a tree. Their empathy was all spent up on the first year on the job, and it takes years just to get trained for government jobs. Government employees wear golden handcuffs, and they are there to serve you as long as you do not interfere with their regularly scheduled paychecks. Where's the FBI? Oh, I am stressed. Not because I want to know where the FBI is. No. My stress is from being reminded about callous and arrogant civil servants, such as featured In this other video, posted on the 19th of September 2023 on Leah Remini's YouTube channel, the video is titled, Shelley Miscavige Update, Horrible Meeting with LAPD Chief on Scientology.
Kind of like not used to that kind of antagonism from a non-Scientology group, supposedly. Right. So I was a little bit put off. Like I was crying in the car to Claire. I was like, I felt so bad about I was like, I feel like I was like in a meeting with Scientologists. I felt so uncomfortable, and Claire flew in for that meeting, and it was like really important to us. And his attitude was so crazy to me. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. Just kind of like, in for this, we had things to say. You took up the time and didn't ask us one question, which was suspicious. I said, because you're in law enforcement, you would think you would ask us, like, what is it? I mean, I read your email, and what crimes should we know? Right?
Right.
He said, look, I mean, as he's, getting his stuff, very busy. And he goes, look, if you have information, credible information to bring to me, that you can present to us, that's credible, that we should be distancing ourselves from this organization, you let me know. Is that clear?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened. It was mind-boggling.
Well, it was clear. I mean, look how I'm getting riled up. It was so insane to me, Mike, and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, I understand. And, this is the result of, 20, 30, 40 years.
Remini is not acting. She is sincerely responding to an authentic interaction between herself and a government employee. Given this government employee is the chief of LA Scientology PD, arrogant, callous, 10x.
Scientology perpetrated the largest infiltration of U.S. government in its history.
So here is my stress. I'm the man. I'm busy. I don't have time for your cat in a tree. And don't even think about leaving a comment. Where's the FBI? First, what's the FBI? The United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, what we law-abiding members of society call FBI, is cops. You know about cops. They wear uniforms, they're always so serious. You call 911 in an emergency, and who do you want to show up? Cops. You see bad guys get hauled off in handcuffs by cops. How do cops get to be cops? Is it difficult to get a cop job? Are cops idiots? Whoa! Cops are smart. Just not all cops are smart, but smart cops are the kindest people in all of the United States government, by far. Smart cops are kind, even to idiots, so kind to idiots who cannot get hired into any other government agency that the very kind, smart cops allow these idiots to join the smart cops, and then these idiots call themselves cops too. You see, there are different kinds of cops. Local, mall cops, city, municipal, county, tribal nations cops, national, federal. Oh, national cops are called agents, not cops. Not even officers. Agents. They're called agents because they work for the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation. You could be an agent too. How to get hired? Go to USA Jobs. Find the job announcement for special agent. It's open to public. That means that their behavioral-based interview can only try to screen out the unscrupulous. It pays $100,000 a year, and you must agree to be assigned to any field office. If there's a different field office where you want to work, you have a chance at relocating, as long as you follow agency procedures. It might take only several years to process a request like that, maybe 25 years to get your desired relocation. Yep, 25 years is so worth it because all government agencies actively participate in the Friends and Family program. You get in, you get your friends and family in. 25 years is nothing in the larger scope of things. 25 years is exactly the amount of time it takes for the head of OSA to revamp Scientology's government infiltration program. It didn't really work out the first time, but we'll give the second time a go. Not 21 years, mind you. No, 21 years is the amount of time it takes Lafayette to come back from the dead. Laffy, haha. Et est un suffixe, souvent utilisé pour exprimer une idée de petite chose, ou parfois une idée d'imitation. Et. Laffy et. Jesus did it in 3 days, but Laffy needed a mysterious 21 years to bring about his second coming, and 21 years after Laffy's stroke to death was exactly the time the head of OSA declared that Scientology ought to be spelled with a lowercase s. F-Y-I, sinful humans. Converting a proper noun from upper to lowercase expands its usage and meaning. It does not contract, it expands. The noun does not shrivel in importance, rather it sprawls. The second coming of Laffy is all about the decentralization of evil. OSA proselytize. What do United States Federal Bureau of Investigation agents do? Agents collect evidence. To do this, they use informants. They also use surveillance and subpoenas. Talking to an agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation is like testifying in court. In order to take action on your tip that so-and-so is a criminal, in order to prosecute a criminal, the Federal Bureau of Investigation needs to establish intent for unlawful activity. Documentation. It's a requirement in federal criminal law. So your indoor cat got out of the house and up a tree. You call for help. The cops quickly arrive. You explain the whole dilemma to the caring and attentive officers. Your brother was holding Fluffy, and though you told your brother not to take Fluffy outdoors, not even if he said he could hold on to Fluffy real good, well, your brother took him outdoors, and then your brother let go of Fluffy, and Fluffy went up the tree, and your brother ran off. Meanwhile, somewhere in your neighborhood, a violent crime is taking place. Blood, weapons, blood on weapons. Your gracious officers politely excuse themselves to attend to the nearby incident, but what about your cat? Submit tips online at tips.fbi.gov or call 1-800-CALL-FBI. That's 1-800-225-5324. The United States Federal Bureau of Investigation agents focus on domestic law enforcement. The United States Federal Bureau of Investigation investigates counterterrorism, counterintelligence, organized crime, violent crime, civil rights. Agents focus on verifiable. Do you have documentation? Documentation that will hold in a court of law. Agents focus on actionable. Do you have a crime on the list? No naughty brothers, please, unless we find out it was your naughty brother who was causing all of the violent crime in your neighborhood. In that case, are you a Scientologist? Is Fluffy a Scientologist? What do agents not do? Agents do not give out their personal deets. Agents do not spend hours and hours and hours on anything less than verifiable and actionable. Agents do not enter communication without properly documenting. Agents do not rack up expenses. They're quite frugal. Agents do not make welfare referrals. Agents do not reveal internal matters to external sources. Agents do not use FedEx. Agents do not conduct official business in alternative facilities such as interviewing in a hotel restaurant unless such activities are explicitly authorized for covert operations. What are they allowed to do?
She handwrote on there what her personal email address was and her cell phone so that I could contact her. And okay, so there's one thing.
United States Federal Bureau of Investigation agents are allowed to give informants their cell and email in addition to their contact info for official business. No, wait, they are not allowed to do that. They are representatives of the United States government. They do not represent themselves. They do not represent their personal political views. They do not represent their religion or lack thereof. They do represent their agency, whether on or off duty. They are monitored. They are censored. Civil servants are public employees. They belong to the public. They are not people, because they are subject to public scrutiny. They certainly are not your friends. They do not give out their personal dates. Policy dictates so. What are they allowed to do? United States Federal Bureau of Investigation agents are allowed to make referrals.
I wanted to say was Tricia Whitehill was so moved by our story that she had a person contact me that was in the human trafficking department of the FBI.
The United States Federal Bureau of Investigation does not have a human trafficking department. They have a National Center for the Analysis of Violent Crime. Yes. They have branches, yes. Tell me which of these branches you understand to be the human trafficking department. Intelligence? National security? Criminal? Cyber? Science and tech? Info and tech? Could be any one of those mixed up together. Human trafficking could take place in any one of those scenarios, perhaps. Well, there's also the branch of Human Resources, which is straight up HR, not a special division devoted to social capital.
Human trafficking department of the FBI, who's responsible for getting victims of human trafficking medical treatment, housing, jobs.
United States Federal Bureau of Investigation agents are allowed to make referrals in the course of duty to advance an investigation collaborated with other law enforcement agencies such as the CIA or Interpol or your local police station. That is the kind of referral you can expect from your friendly United States Federal Bureau of Investigation agent.
But it was just very moving that somebody would actually contact me and say, we're here to help. We understand that you've been through trauma. We understand that you've been through abuse, and we are here to set you up with any resources you may need to get you on, the right path to recovery. That's a big plus from the FBI. And I remember her name was Deborah. She kept calling me just to check on me and make sure everything was okay. Anyway, okay, FBI, you have some good people in there. You have some people who really do care.
Do not ever expect a Deborah who says, "We're here to help. We understand that you've been through trauma. We understand that you've been through abuse, and we are here to set you up with any resources you may need." FBI Deborah. Even Health and Human Services employees do not say words like that. Just laughy.
She had a person contact me that was in the human trafficking department of the FBI, who's responsible for getting victims of human trafficking medical treatment, housing, jobs, and everything like that. And they contacted me saying, let me help you.
Unless the everything like that was a reference to Medicare fraud, tax fraud, bank fraud, embezzlement, mortgage fraud, insurance fraud, violations of the Controlled Substances Act. Unless it was one of the above, there wasn't anything FBI about this person. Oh, she has a name. It's Deborah. FBI Deborah. Okay. Talking to an agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation is like testifying in court. The United States Federal Bureau of Investigation agents are cops. Health and Human Services, on the other hand, is tasked with the mission to enhance the health and well-being of Americans. Would an FBI agent refer you to HHS? No. They can, but they are not going to because they are busy. Agents are looking for documentation, not your lovely voice. The burden is on the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation to gain sufficient evidence to conclude that an alleged act of misconduct or violation occurred, a violation of United States Federal Bureau of Investigation policy or law. Miss Tricia Whitehill, though, she is so masterful at her FBI job as an agent, one of only maybe 10,000 agents in the nation. Miss Whitehill is happy to insult approximately 80,000 Health and Human Services employees by thoughtfully and compassionately extending her best referral, FBI Deborah, to her very special informant, the one with the cat in a tree. United States Federal Bureau of Investigation agents may conduct in-person interviews as part of criminal investigations. When agents interview you, agents, typically 2 agents for purposes of verifying the encounter, when they interview you, then you are contacted and you are asked to come to a local federal building. Talking to an agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation is like testifying in court of a federal building.
It was funny because they didn't want to tell anybody at the local FBI offices where we were going to have my meeting what the investigation was that they were doing, who I was, where I was from, or anything, because they said they don't trust that FBI office.
That activity does not describe testifying in court. A government employee does not represent externally any internal matters such as, we don't trust that office. This is a serious violation of employee conduct.
Because they are in Scientology's backyard and all this stuff is going on there. So it was like hush hush, scooted off into this one room.
Department of Justice says, investigations are conducted within the Attorney General's guidelines. The guidelines afford centralized direction, which allows for greater uniformity and control of national and international law enforcement efforts. I assure you there is no hush-hush scooting in authentic transactions with the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation agents. Rather, agents are following guidelines which pertain to racketeering enterprises, general criminal investigations, undercover operations, criminal information matters, extraterritorial investigations, and domestic security terrorism. No hushy scoots.
So I told them everything and anything I could think of for hours and hours and hours. She was there for 2 days with Matt and I.
That alone denotes inordinate resources directed at extensively investigating without a strategy for substantiation. Is Miss Whitehill new? Can't be. Newbies wouldn't have such freedom to travel and hush scoot.
All of that information was given to the FBI. They met with Matt in some closed restaurant. So they didn't want to take him in the building at all. So they went to some closed restaurant and met for several hours.
How many policy violations can fit into one investigation, Miss Whitehill? Agents ask you to come to a local federal building. And Matt, formerly the finance officer for the business Scientology is a business.
The point that you're saying that's very hard for people to comprehend, law enforcement, government agencies, is that you have an organization masquerading around as a religion, but it conducts itself as a business, and a business that is set up to purposely get around the laws of the land.
Okay. And he is reporting this business to be criminal. The formal financial officer is an ideal target for this next Whitehill play.
She surprised him with a question. Could he infiltrate the Sea Org and send out information? Yeah, I think I could. How would you do that?
Department of Justice, quote, some sensitive investigative methods, such as undercover activities and electronic surveillance, are subject to specific review and approval procedures, end quote.
Even if the cause is to have somebody undercover, let's figure somebody else out. Oh, that was too much.
In other words, Tricia was just flirting with Matsy. Agents are allowed to do that. They do it either to be manipulative in the process of conducting an investigation, or they flirt just for fun. United States Federal Bureau of Investigation agents, like your local cops, are allowed to lie to you, and they are allowed to trick you, just like your friendly neighborhood officer. It is not unlawful for the police to manipulate you under investigative procedures, but also, it's fun to befriend you. It's fun to deepen your trust and attachment to my perceived authority. It's fun to watch you build expectations and then wake up to the truth. You see, callous and arrogant. I should know. It's just fun to give you that good feeling. That feeling that means zero in a federal criminal courtroom. Federal criminal investigations are complex and require careful attention to detail and a good understanding of the law. Attention to feelings? No. Attention to detail. Understanding of criminal organizations' specialized glossaries and policies? No. Understanding of the law. Operation Snow White. Under this program, Scientology operatives committed infiltration, wiretapping, and theft of documents in government offices. On July 8, 1977, the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation raided D.C. and Los Angeles. On December 6, 1979, Mary Sue Hubbard, wife of Lafayette Ronald Hubbard, was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Her vacancy of the Guardian's office made way for Executive Director of the Office of Special Affairs to serve as chief spokesperson and representative of Scientology in the media for 25 years.
I had no idea that an ongoing investigation was already happening by the FBI when I wrote that. I wrote that just that.
The investigator shall state or restate to the interviewee the advisory that any information obtained concerning potential criminal violations may be referred to the U.S. Department of Justice or other appropriate governmental authority. In recorded interviews, the audio recording captures the advisory as well as acknowledgement by witness. This is also in writing and signed. Agents ensure that interviewees understand their rights before any questions are asked.
Here's another thing. This was when I lived in Spanaway, Washington, because I had just moved from Clearwater, and I had given her some documents that she was sending back to me. And so this is the FedEx, from the FBI.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation, Los Angeles, is located at 11,000 Wilshire Boulevard, Suite 1700 in Los Angeles, California. The Federal Bureau of Investigation will mail the requester by United States First Class Mail, not FedEx, not even UPS. USPS, that is a government agency for mail services. The Federal Bureau of Investigation's shipping services are limited due to agency security protocols. A federal agency does not contract with private companies for ordinary services such as snail mail. So the documents mailed back by FedEx, was it a custom, urgent, oversized package going to a remote location? Once again, reminds me of LA Scientology PD. Cops are allowed to lie to you, and they're allowed to trick you. It is not unlawful for the police to manipulate you under investigative procedures. Heartbreaking. Talking to an agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation is like testifying in court. The job of an agent is to prepare for federal criminal court. Agents are looking for documentation, not your storytelling skills. Collecting evidence and prepping for a legal case is called substantiating an allegation. Here's the life cycle of your FBI complaint. First, the allegation. Your tip, my cat is up a tree. Who is to blame? Then comes the investigation. Maybe there are interviews, maybe surveillance, maybe subpoenas, or maybe not. Then comes substantiation. This is just a fancy word to say the decision to move forward or not. Then comes documentation, which really already happened at investigation because it was in mind at the time of allegation. Then comes determination of penalty, which really is a formality. This is what you're going to get, criminal. That's called determination of penalty. Finally is notification. Everything is in writing always. Is there any skip between allegation all the way down to notification? Yes, sure is. Some allegations go directly to notification, and they skip all of that in between, the investigation, substantiation, documentation, and determination of penalty. They just skip.
I got Trisha's business card and I gave her different documents that I had. And I want to know from the FBI what happened to your investigation. I think we deserve an answer to that.
All the hassle for you and your friends you thought would be worth your while, what happened? You and others like you, those who have personal integrity, were being initiated into the investment program. You invest your time. You invest your resources. You invest your deep care, compassion, and sense of purpose. You invest your memory-making moments. You expect an ROI. You are convicted with certainty that your investment is sound and secure. You will never walk away from your sure thing, will you? What happened is Miss Whitehill, maybe an employee of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, maybe not, ensured that you handed over every document and every last word that could fall from your lips. That is something a United States Federal Bureau of Investigation agent would do. Even those who get away with violating every agency policy and procedure, Miss Whitehill. Indeed, a true claim, or tip, that corresponds to the allegation that Scientology is criminal. That tip had been filed with the actual agency, and so that requires legitimate processing in which the claimant is due an official response, and an official response was generated in 2010, informing that the tip would not proceed to investigation. Did you know about that decision notice? Hi, Simi. Did you know about that decision notice? We went straight from allegation to notification. There you go. And I hate it when people say it didn't happen.
I hate it when people say, it didn't happen. Okay. Did I just make this up? No. How it's so ridiculous when Scientology says there was no FBI investigation when we all have specifics.
Ouch! Scientology said there was no investigation. How can anyone at Scientology know that? Wow. But it is true. There was no investigation conducted by the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation. The Funny Business Institute conducting funny business investigations, that may be the FBI you're talking about. Agent Deborah of the Funny Business Institute and Agent Trisha Whitehill of the Funny Business Institute conducting funny business investigations. Trisha's MIA, by the way. FBI. And why not CIA? The CIA pursues criminals. The CIA focuses on foreign intelligence and covert operations. Surely the CIA, too, needs a cat in a tree storytelling. And documentation. Talking to an agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation is like testifying in court.
And so this is the FedEx, from the FBI. So you can say there was no FBI investigation. Nobody saw these people from the FBI.
FBI investigation. It did not happen back then. Is it happening now? Why are you asking? Who are you asking? Agents might inform that an interview is pursuant to an official investigation. Might not. If asked whether or not there is a criminal investigation, the investigator shall clearly state that it is the agency's policy to neither confirm nor deny the existence of any criminal investigation. The investigation did not happen back then. Is it happening now? You better have a lawyer with you to get an answer to that question. Scientology was right. There was no investigation. Classic Scientology. Say something true. There was no FBI investigation to somebody who already believes the lie. Scientology, send someone out to tell her a lie. Convince her of the lie. Then say something true that is incongruent with the lie, and then, because she is invested already in the lie of which she was convinced, she vehemently contests the truthful statement, which means she ends up looking like the liar. This is a perfect example played out. Whoever said you were participating in an investigation? Who told you the FBI was investigating? Immediately after writing a letter, you began an investment journey, a confounding path towards self-convicted certainty. Who told you the FBI was investigating? The agent said those words? Who said those words? Then you're running around telling everyone else. Kind of makes you look like a liar telling everyone something you were told but never saw in writing. Seeing as Federal Bureau of Investigation agents inform you of your rights in writing, they are legally obligated to state, and at times restate, your rights. As an informant, you have the right to know the status of your claim, and the agent informs you of that right in writing. You sign, attesting that you understand all of your rights as you participate in Federal Bureau of Investigation transactions. What did you sign? Who informed you of your rights? Who told you an investigation was opened? What is documented? The FBI raided Scientology in 1977 in order to seize documents. 1977 documents revealed Guardian's office plans to destroy a woman named Paulette Cooper. Paulette Cooper wrote a book critical of Scientology. Scientology attempted murder on Paulette's life for it. For writing a book. Attempted murder. In the key of point-blank shooting. Curious. Do you believe Scientology tries to destroy critics? Do you believe Scientology takes action to destroy their biggest threats, the critics with the greatest arsenal? Do you believe Scientology takes action to destroy the career of Leah Remini? After all, her documentary entices the whole world to criticize Scientology. Documents seized in 1977 were employed in a federal trial against Scientologists. The trial resulted in convictions served out in prison. This resulted in Scientology's Guardian's office changing its name to Office of Special Affairs, and this resulted in a staff shuffle. Mary Sue Hubbard, in 1979 sentenced to prison, was retired from her position as head of the Guardian's office. Her immediate successor, in 1980, was watching the ink dry on the largest infiltration of U.S. government when he proceeded to use any talent he had to make it better. Did he make it better as head of the Office of Special Affairs? There was one individual who followed Mary Sue Hubbard in the role of destroying Scientology's critics, and the worst thing that ever happened to him in Scientology was rug burn. Outside of Scientology, was there an attempt on his life? No. Was his career impeded? No. Was his pet killed? No. The worst thing that happened to he who swallowed 25 years of OSA secrets, well, it's the worst thing that could happen to anyone. Worse than point-blank gun to the face, Paulette Cooper. Someone purchased his trash. Do you want to say anything about that, or do you just want to sit there looking as gorgeous and from Australia as you are? In summary, Leah Remini lost her lawsuit against Scientology. How? The suit was filed August 2023, then anti-SLAPP motions and appeals were filed, and an upcoming court date is set. It would seem then that the lawsuit has not even yet begun, really, so how did she already lose? Do the math. The judge ruled 50-50 on the anti-SLAPP motions. Therefore, either a corruptible judge will take Scientology's money, or an incorruptible judge will get a hefty dose of Scientology harassment, while Remini's fiscal solvency is emaciated to the point of destitution. Gracias a Scientology.
And they're very aware that what they're doing is illegal, right?
Rhetorical hyperbole.
And I didn't take them up on their offer of help.
I don't want to play this game anymore. Me neither.